Hello, this is Necrit talking to you during Christmas time, which is time where I don't really have time to write scripts. So similar to what we did last time when we had a look at the Bridge of Progress, I just really wanted to check out all the new Easter eggs and the story that is currently happening on the new map. However, again, it is Christmas! So I decided to just turn on the camera and have some fun. So that's what this video is. Enjoy me going through a lot of Easter eggs and finding ghosts, and also maybe some possible really cool teasers for future stories. And so, welcome to Noxus, or a slightly more orange variant of the Summoner's Rift. But hey, I will not complain, because we have not had a winter map in a while. Now on this map, of course, we only have one job, and that is to look around and look for Easter eggs. And immediately, you're gonna notice some differences from the previous version of Summoner's Rift. So while we spawn here in our base, you may notice that immediately, the statue that's behind us is different. Now, I do believe this is right, just slapping an extra asset on top of the statue that was there previously, but indeed, this is technically a Noxian helmet and a new Noxian shield that was not there previously, and a very Noxian axe. Remember, Noxians are all about axes and very weird angular blades, and we'll see a lot of those around. Now, the main thing you will notice is that there is now a new shopkeeper. However, not all the new assets around are new. Of course, all of these assets are still there. These are the old ones. This is the old Blade of the Ruined King, this is the Infinity Edge, and this is Rylai's Scepter. However, the moment we move to the shopkeeper, you will immediately notice some differences. Mainly, this shopkeeper is indeed part of the Black Rose. You'll see that the two halves of this map are kind of split into the Black Rose and the Triforix, or normal Noxus. However, it is not entirely split half and half, because you'll see that while we are here technically on the Black Rose side, if you look around the Nexus, you'll see that the Nexus itself actually has the members of the Triforix. You'll see that right here we have Darius, here we have Swain, and here we have the Faceless, who was always teased to be LeBlanc, but who knows what Rise is gonna do with them. And of course, these are the three leaders who represent the three principles of Noxus. That is, Might, Vision, and Guile, even though normally I believe the order is Vision, Might, and Guile, but whatever. The point is, these faces should be familiar to us. Also, another thing to point out, from the top view, you will see that not only is the Nexus slightly more angular, but also it does look a little bit like a rose, but we'll get to that in a little bit. First, let's go back to the shopkeeper. You'll notice that not only does this shopkeeper have a mask, because again, remember, the entire theme of this season is masks. We covered all the skins that are coming out in this season, and all of the skins actually have their own little canonical story. What is currently happening in Noxus, and what the season is about, is that the Black Rose have a bit of a mask party, or a masquerade as they call it. And there they invited a few really influential people from all across Runeterra, including people like Ezreal, because they know that Ezreal is a powerful mage wielding the Glove of Nezuk. Or there is someone like Renata, who again is a really powerful camp baron in the modern day zone. And of course you have also someone like Vladimir or Elise, both of whom are already part of the Black Rose, and they are wearing the masks because, again, they threw a bit of a party. But there is also Katarina, who is trying to assassinate them all, and we'll see a few references to that later. The one thing I really want to point out here are these cards, because these cards are slightly different from what was originally teased. If you go back to the first video where Riot revealed this new map, you'll see that those tarot cards looked different. They were black with a bit of a glow in the middle, but these are just split in half. It's a totally different design, and I wonder if this is teasing the fact that as this season rolls out, maybe different aspects of the map will change as the story develops. Because this is not the only thing that changed between the PBE version and the one that was originally revealed. But yes, on this card you may notice that there is a bit of a night and dark kind of theme. I mean, this is supposed to be the moon because it doesn't really have any shining around it, and it has its eye closed because I guess moon is asleep. And the other side is sun, even though it is dark, but you can also see that it's actually shining, so hey, that's the design. I do not believe there is any deeper meaning behind this just yet. Of course, next to it, you can see that there is a bit of a shield, not a mirror. There's gonna be a mirror on the other side, but this is a shield with the logo of the Black Rose above it. Of course, there are darker roses below it, not exactly black, but there will be others that will be. Now on the beast itself, which yes, the beast actually is wearing Noxian armor. You can see a lot of these around Legends of Runeterra, for example. But we can see a mask that really seems to be a mask of someone like Jhin or Zed. I mean, Jhin would make sense because Jhin technically does have ties to secret cabals and being released as a weapon during the Noxian invasion, and so I really wouldn't be surprised if the Black Rose was involved in Jin's story as well. But as far as I know, it is not confirmed. There is just different kind of cabal in Ionia. But yes, there is also a very Noxian shield and sword and a mask and what I believe is a whip. A lot of people believe that this is a wand, which to be fair, it could be, it is the Black Rose, it is magic. It might also be a whip. And this is where people realized it is possible that these weapons are teasing future skins. Again, it is possible that the map will change as the season is going on. And there should be a second wave of skins that is coming out in Noxus. Because remember, we should be getting 2 passes per season with 3 seasons, so 6 passes in total. So if that is the case, it is possible that this would be Jhin, this would be Neela, the sword and shield could be Leona, and then this could be someone like Karma or Hui. I mean, if this is Jhin, Hui would make sense too. Now, as to how canon these skins will be, I have no idea, but it seems like Riot is planning something, because you'll see later there is one big part of this map that I truly believe is teasing future story. So lastly, in this shop, you can see that if we go above, you can see weirdly more Black Rosy styled weapons. I mean, it's the same weapons that we can see here. Also, these really seem to be way higher quality compared to these. But this does seem to be Infinity Edge, as if it came from the Black Rose. This does seem to be a little bit more Black Rosy Blade of the Ruined King. This kinda does seem to be the original stuff that Vygar used to have. Could be totally wrong on that one, but overall, it is just Black Rosy weapons. Also, yes, there is also a Black Rose on the seat. Because why not? Now, as we go around the map, you'll see that you will have a lot of these red banners all around. Now, of course, this is a very Noxian design, and if you want to confirm that these banners are a Noxian design, look no further than Mordekaiser. Mordekaiser, or the grand founder of Noxus, I guess, also has a banner on his back, where you can see a very similar theme. And that is because the Noxian language possibly kinda spun out of Oknun, or the language of the dead, which Mordekaiser heavily used. So yes, we will see a lot of these banners all around this map. However, the one on Mordekaiser's back is slightly different. That one has like a little P on top with like 2 lines, and none of the other banners have exactly that. Also, I just noticed there is one more axe just like here rolled out in the bed, which is got a really cool detail. But from that point on, let's go on a bit of a journey. Now we can actually focus on what we can see in the map. For example, as I said, this Nexus does seem to look a little bit like the Black Rose from above, because, you know, you'll see these roses all over this map. And also, I love how even the crystal itself has those Noxian carvings in it, which is, again, very typical for Noxus. Now moving on, yes, of course, we also do have cannons, like real guns. I mean, there are a few champions who already have real guns, but yeah, firepower is very much real, and it makes sense for Noxus to utilize these. They have all kinds of machinery. I will say though, these kind of a bit more advanced than I would expect. However, at the same time, remember that back in the Immortal Bastion, yes, the technology is likely way better than what they were able to bring to something like the invasion of Ionia, where they had to be a bit more mobile with their equipment. Now, moving on from these cannons, what's also really awesome are these inhibitors, and I will try to play the animation so you can see what the inhibitors actually do. You can see that these inhibitors just rotate and spin, and they have these runes underneath them. There's a rune for a shield, one for a wand, one for an axe, one for a sword. I don't believe these have any deeper meanings. It's like your classic RPG icons, I guess, unless this is a really cool teaser for the MMO, alright? That would be kind of funny. But really, what these are is that these are rune forges. These things forge runes, which is very typical for something like the Black Rose, who have the black metals and they forge the green runes onto them, or at least they carve them in and then they enchant them, and they... Well, that was an entire thing that happened in Arcane 2, but we will mostly know these from someone like Riven. Yes, these inhibitors are unironically referencing Riven. And yes, that animation is pretty cool. Just slamming down the forge. And also, you might notice, right underneath it, do you see the thing that's moving? Yes, so if you look beneath, you'll see there is indeed a drill. So these are another piece of slightly more advanced machinery that's happening in Noxus, and you know what? I am not surprised. Now, speaking of which, if you remember our video where we were talking about the Bridge of Progress, there was a weird thing where they had a shopkeeper, and then if you went beneath, there was another shopkeeper. And so here, happy to confirm, there are no fake shopkeepers. This is just all good, all right? It's all good. And also, speaking of these carvings that I've just noticed here, these, I believe, are the exact same that are on the normal map. However, these are different. These were changed slightly so they fit the Noxian script. The original carvings look slightly different. They're just normal. So every now and then you will notice some details around the map change as well, which also includes these runes. Now, looking at the bottom side, I believe that's it. I just love this cracked floor with the Noxian themes, but I do believe nothing else is really changing. It seems like they kept the same theme from the stags and the owls that are all around Summoner's Rift. Of course, these were reference to a war that potentially happened in the canon lore. We are still not sure if it's real, but if you go to Aurelian's story, Aurelian might be still referencing it in his very old story, unless that story was taken down. If it is down, then you know what? It's just a mystery. But yes, at some point, somewhere in this universe, there was a war between two nations. One was all about stags, and the other one was all about hairy owls. That's kind of all we know now. So now, let's take a turn towards the bottom side, and you'll immediately start noticing some new details. I mean, that is still the original Philosopher's Stone, if I remember correctly, but you'll start noticing all of these masks all around this map. And, of course, all of these are related to the Black Rose, and it's related to the Masquerade, which again is the main story of this season. And you'll see that some of these masks repeat, and it's the same mask in different places. But some of them have slight hints towards a story that's already trying to develop itself. Now, in most of the jungle, you will not find anything new. All of these things are things that we know. There is nothing new even in the pit with the red buff or the wolves or anything like that. I mean, if you go to the chickens, you'll start noticing that, yes, the original Easter eggs are still here. For example, this is the original Helmet Bro helmet. With Helmet Bro being kind of a legend around memes and stuff these days. And as we go around, you will start noticing more of these banners. Now, you'll see that these are now mirrored, and together they kind of make the X, which is the main symbol of the Triforix. I wonder if that's really intended, because you can also see it here. This is a very simplified version of the Triforix. And this, am I crazy, or is this kind of close to the icon of the new IP that you get in League? I could be wrong. Other than that, I'm not actually sure what this is. This could be a teaser for something new that's happening in Noxus, because you'll see there are a few teasers for something new happening in Noxus. Now, some of you may know that Summoner's Rift, at least the original version, already had some fun Easter eggs and references towards pop culture. For example, in the original map, if you go down this hole, you will see the little ninja knife, dagger thingy, whatever that is. And of course, a lot of you may know that in the original Summoner's Rift, this was a reference to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And so I'm happy to say, even on the Noxian version, yes, it is still there. The sewers still have mutant turtles, I guess. But going towards the Dragon Pit, you might notice our first Easter egg. You may see Katarina's dagger pinning down one of the letters that were sent out, or which might also be an invitation that came from the Black Rose. And of course, according to the description of Katarina's skin, which should be canon to a certain degree, we learned that Katarina was sent here to the Black Rose party by Swain himself to take down someone from the Black Rose. We are not sure who is the target. We were just told that there was a picture of the mask near the ladder, which means that it had to be either Vladimir or Elise, whom Katarina is trying to take down, because no one else would have an iconic Black Rose mask. Everyone else had their own dresses that they bought, I guess. So here, it is a bit of a shame that the dagger is not pinned to an image of a mask, because that would really be a cool reference. But now, Yeah, this is just a reference to Katarina trying to hunt down the Black Rose. Now, around this area, the rest should be pretty clean. There is not much else that is different. And if you look at the alcove, the bottom alcove is slightly more based on the Black Rose. You'll see all of these thorns that are indeed black around. You'll see that the bushes are black too, I believe, on the other side. Yep, on the other side they are orange, so that side is supposed to be more of the Triforix region, but this bottom side is the Black Rose. You can see the Black Roses are indeed here. They are slightly less pink and more black here. And yes, there is another mask. This is the same mask that we saw on the bottom side at the beginning there. It is the exact same one, but next to it there is also this golden mask. And I don't believe this gold mask repeats itself anywhere else on the map. I could be wrong, maybe I'll find it somewhere, but yeah, so this one is unique. Now, as we go around, you'll also see these little waterfalls were still there on the original map. There is nothing new here. And yes, there are a lot of these candles all around the map, which are new. And also, you know what? You know how I just talked about the golden mask? Yeah. So it's not that unique. So all the masks actually repeat. So there is now a stone one or a gray one. There is a gold one. There is a red one. And when we have a look at the dragon pit, nothing new. I'm pretty sure it's all the same. Not even like new Noxian arrows, because these are very Noxian. These arrows could not be more Noxian, but we'll see if we can also find them anywhere else. Not here though. Not near dragon. Now, unfortunately, the frogs and ducks, they are not armored. I would have loved it if at least these had some tiny pieces of Noxian armor too. That would be really cool. But now let's complete the circle. Let's go through the rest of the bottom lane, because then things start getting really interesting. For example, here you still have the original reference to the stags and the owls. This, I believe, is there in the original map. Nothing new there, and the rest should be the same. I believe this little swirly is not actually a new thing for the Black Rose. That is also an original one. We have the stone mask here, also repeating, and that's pretty much it. There's nothing else hidden, at least here, but that's gonna really quickly change as we move on. Now, around the mid lane, things get really interesting because you have all of these icons. We'll explain them in a moment, but also you'll notice that on both sides you have this little tower with the little I'm not even sure what you call it, at least not in English. It's a little thing that you build so you can stand on it and watch, I guess. Like a watchtower, except it's not really a built tower. Whatever. So this is actually cool because this is possibly a piece of a Noxtora, which is a giant gate that the Noxians built on all roads so they can always point you towards the Immortal Bastion. As long as you are walking on a road and you are following the Noxtora, you will always end up in the Immortal Bastion. That's why they are building them up. And you can see one side of this being here, and the other side being here. Now, of course, for logistical reasons, this is the same model copied over, I believe. However, it is teasing that, like, you know, there should be like a giant gate built over the mid lane. Now, what is also amazing about this is that you can see that it seems to be destroyed. It's either not fully finished. You can see, I didn't actually notice this little rock holding the flag down. What a cool detail. But anyway, if this is destroyed, there's something really cool happening here. If I play the animation, you may notice this. You may notice a really vague blue smoke. Now, this blue smoke seems very deathly, doesn't it? And that might be because this could be a reference to Mordekaiser. On the original Summoner's Rift, this isn't even there, so it's not like Riot is trying to keep the same VFX around the map for consistency. No, in the original map, this is just a piece of rock. There is nothing here. Here, however, they do have this VFX, and I do believe this is because they are trying to tease something that will happen in this season. Because while this looks ominous, and it really is using the color scheme of Mordekaiser in his own Grey Realm, or which is basically his own Death Realm, this is not the only item here that is using the same visuals. So it is entirely possible that Riot is already teasing a future story that's gonna happen with Mordekaiser through the map. Yes, the prophecy came true. Fortnite did the events best, and Riot is trying to mimic them. But yes, if we go to the other side, which is, you know, the blue side, as is shown with the blue flag, if I go over here and I play the VFX as well, You can see the exact same thing is here. So Mordekaiser's influence, I mean, it is obvious that it would be there because it's Noxus. I mean, Mordekaiser is still sealed underneath Noxus and he's awaiting his time to come back as an undead warlord. So it would make sense for that reference to exist here, but also it is a possible teaser for the future. Now, besides this, as I mentioned, we also have these cool icons. And what's cool about these icons is that these are all references to champions who are related to the Black Rose. So, for example, here we have Talon, who was manipulated by the Black Rose, as was shown in the Katarina comic. Next to that, we have Cassiopeia, who I'm not sure if it was ever directly confirmed, but she was always teased to be one of the younger entries into the Black Rose, and it makes sense given that she is from a royal house and she is kind of evil-ish. And then, of course, the X is of none other than Sion, who was resurrected by the Black Rose, and he joined as a Grey Legion. Yes, indeed, the Noxians have an entire army of undead that they resurrected themselves. It is a really cool badass side of Noxus. And on the other side, you might notice that we have 3 more entries. We have Samira, who of course is funded, or at least her entire equipment was funded by the Black Rose through her agent Indari. Which is also why, this is why Samira has the golden rose on her weapon. It's not only that she is called the Desert of the Rose, sorry, the Rose of the Desert? The Desert Rose, I'm an idiot. Because she originally came from Shurima, it is also that she is unironically tied to the Black Rose. Of course, next to that we have Briar, another blood construct similar to Sion, who was also created by the Black Rose. And then of course we have Rel, who is representing all the orphaned children who are being turned into living weapons by the Black Rose. Now on the front side you can also see that there are little pictures that honestly look very similar to what was shown on the original map on Summoner's Rift. However, these are parts of the same stones, so I now wonder if these actually have some deeper meaning, because this is literally just a guy with like a sword and a shield, and there is a mage. And this has the same little theme as the Nexus and the Inhibitor, so I have no idea what's happening here, to be honest. And of course, since we are in the mid lane, we can't forget, yes, there is a giant logo of the Triforix in the middle. Now, moving on to the Baron Pit. At the Baron's Pit, there is nothing really new. All these are old references. All the weapons are still there, it's the old ones. There is the original skull of the original Baron. There is another helmet of Helmet Bro, and that's really it. There is nothing new here as far as I'm aware. And also, I just noticed, they still have the same shield here, which I still don't know what this shield is really referencing. It is not actually Cassiopeia, no. This one has been here for a while, and it's just part of League's history, I guess. Now, very quickly, going back from the Baron Pit, I will also go through the top side here. Now, you can see that a lot of these places are exactly the same as they are on the normal map, except they have all of these new banners around. However, again, you will find new masks and some more candles scattered all around. And besides that, you might notice these. Where have we seen these? That's right, in Arcane. These are all the glaives and the polearms and the spears that have the same little circle at the end. I believe there are more along the way. That the Noxians usually pin down when they want to mark their territory or when they are marking a grave. Now, moving alongside the top side, I believe all of these are exactly the same as they were on the original map. There is unfortunately nothing new, and I do believe there is also, yep, the same image of the blue buff that is still there. This is just showing you, hey, you are on the blue side, that's blue buff, and that's it. So nothing new here, unfortunately. Now, continuing from the Baron Pit further up. Now, here you will find some more candles, and you will start noticing some Noxian weapons. Yes, we also have the spears we've seen before, but as I said, Noxians really like angular swords. So this is a very Noxian sword. There's also a scroll that is the same image that we've seen before, except now this is rolled up. And this takes us to the one item which I believe is the most important on the entire map. And that is this. This is most definitely a teaser for something that is gonna happen in the future. There is no way this is just a random axe. And that's because, so first of all, if you have a look at the design of the axe, what's weird is that this looks like the axe of Darius. It has the same circle at the end. It has the handle is split in 2 halves. It has the little bulge before it goes into the axe. The axe has the sharp edge on one side, and unfortunately the other side is shattered. So we don't know what happened there. However, this I do not believe is a random item. This is a new thing that is not even referencing anything that was here before on the old map. This is just straight up a teaser of something. Now, this Titan hand, this one was actually here on the original map. If you go back, yes, this is what the alcove looks like, and I never actually noticed it before, but yes, it is an arm. Now, the reason why the axe could be here is because it is possible that something is gonna happen to Darius, and it could be one of two things. Now, first of all, it is entirely possible that the Freljord will be somehow involved in the story of Noxus. Now, we were told that the lore of League of Legends would evolve as these seasons are going out, so we know that something's gonna happen, and it should somehow transition into the second season, so it's possible that the next one is gonna be about Freljord, because this does look like a frostbite, and you can see that these are actually crumbled chunks of the axe in the ground, which is extremely suspicious. Now, you could also argue that this looks weird because it is out of proportion. I mean, look at the size of this axe compared to this one. But then again, if you go back to the towers that we saw near the mid lane, those stairs were tiny, so don't look at proportions, they don't really make sense. Now, the second thing this could be is that this could unironically be another reference to Mordekaiser. Again, it is blue, it is kind of referencing the Grey Realm, possibly. So, it is possible that something's gonna happen to Darius. Maybe he will see what Mordekaiser is doing underneath Noxus. That would be really awesome if Darius was the one who got a vision with Mordekaiser and he learned about what's even happening there. But it is possible that something's gonna happen to Darius. Maybe he's gonna be taken into the Grey Realm. Maybe he will get a new axe that will be forged by Mordekaiser. Who knows? What we know, or at least what I believe, is that this axe is teasing something that's gonna happen in the story in the future, because this is very suspicious. And of course, the entire time, if you look into the background, yes, so this is the normal background that Summoner's Rift has. It's just blue sky, green, nothing interesting. But because you're supposed to view this from the top angle, something like that, you can notice that if you look into the background, that right there is the Immortal Bastion. That is the capital city of Noxus. And you know what? Here we have a little axe pointing towards the Immortal Bastion where Mordekaiser is banished. Coincidence? I think not. Also, yes, ignore the Ari. This one looks really out of place now, doesn't it? Huh. But at least Riot is probably testing if they can like add in these additional models onto the maps, even if they change. And so yeah, it works. So good job, Riot. It works. It just really doesn't fit here, though, I will say that. Now, moving on along the other side of the map. This is where things should transition more into the Triforix rather than the Black Rose, which is why you will see a lot less masks around this side and a lot more weapons. That is why, if we go here, you can see all the spears and all the swords just pinned alongside all the lanes. While on the other side, you had the candles and the masks. You will see that here, no candles, no masks. Instead, you will see an awesome reference to an item you might recognize from League of Legends, and that is none other than the item whose name I forgot, but I will show you the icon. That's the item. So on this side, of course, the turrets are more red, so are the inhibitors. Nothing really special there. Once again, if you go around, you know how on the other side we had the mask with the candles? Yeah, and here, weapons. Just weapons, Triforix, and the owl, for some reason. They kept the stags and the owls, even though it could be the Black Rose and the Triforix. And even at the bottom side of the other side, there's still nothing new. We already looked here. So now we are getting onto the other side of the map. And here, what is really funny is that if you look over the edge, you might notice the Immortal Bastion again, but this time it is just weirdly stretched. And you might be wondering, so why are there two Immortal Bastions now? Well, to that I would say there are not two. There are indeed, that is 4 and I believe 5. Yeah, there are 5 different Immortal Bastions. And that's because this is just a really cool trick to very quickly make a background. You will notice that the Wild Rift actually does the same trick, and that's because if you zoom in, you're supposed to look at this from this angle. And from this angle, you will not notice that this is a repeating background. So, you know, it just looks Noxian. Just look at, you know, Look at those corners. So yes, the background is indeed just repeating, and it is the same Immortal Bastion. But now finally we are on the other side. So here, instead of everything being purple or, you know, dark because of the Black Rose, you will see that all of these are indeed red, because now we're back in normal Noxus, led by the Triforix. There are a lot of new things that changed here. For example, these runes are new. Now, this is the original Oknun. This is the language that the Noxian language originated from, which means we have no idea what these mean. Yeah, on the other side, we got the characters from the Triforix, even though it was the Black Rose side, and now we are on the Triforix side, because you can see the logo here, and yet you have the runes here. So I have no idea what's the deal with that. But of course the designs are the same. I believe if we go beneath, we will see that the inhibitor is once again a big drill. So nothing special there. There is no extra vendor or, you know, a merchant underneath. Nothing special there. However, as I said, the big points around these are always the merchants. So now let's have a look at our Walrus merchant. So the first thing I really want to point out here is something cool. Once again, if you go back to the video where we talked about the Bridge of Progress, where we made an entire video where we talked about the details there, you will notice that some things are weird with the map on purpose. I mean, if I just turn around, you'll see that all the trees are slanted to one side. That's because you are looking at everything from one angle. From this top angle, it works. All of these trees look normal. The moment you look at them from the side, you will see that all of these are just look at this mess. But you know, from the angle, it works. And if you look at the store, I don't know if this is the case with the original store on the normal map as well, but this store looks fine, right? Looks like a normal store. Now, if you go to the ground level and then you look up, you will notice that the store is indeed just slanted. The entire thing is on one side, and that's because if you go up, you will notice that it looks totally fine from this angle, and I love that illusion. Now, of course, yes, the logo here is the original logo of the Triforix. I will need to rip this from the files, because this logo is really cool, and I can use it for videos, to be honest. But more importantly, if we go to the shop itself, you may notice that there is a book with a rose on it. Now, this is supposed to be the Triforix side, so imagine this being like the hunters of the Black Rose. These guys are trying to take them down. So him wearing the half mask, sure, I mean, it's the same as Katarina wearing a mask because she's sneaking in and she's trying to kill them all. So that's what's happening here. Now, this dagger, I believe, is actually a similar model to the little daggers that fly out when Katarina uses her ultimate. You can see the little pointy daggers, and it makes sense because these daggers were actually shown a lot in the comic, and it might also be in Legends of Runeterra in her level up art. All of these daggers are just throwing daggers. That's really what it is. And it is related to Katarina. Just like the blade in the background here. Now, this blade, if you are wondering why Katarina's blade would have these red marks on them, that's because if you go to the Katarina comic, you will learn that the reason why Katarina can teleport around and why she's weirdly red is because she is indeed technically using a version of blood magic. In fact, her daggers are bound to her by her own blood. So these red carvings on the blades actually make sense because that is the enchantment that we saw in the comic. And yes, next to it we have a mirror. I'll be absolutely honest, I'm not sure what the mirror is supposed to be. Maybe it's a joke on Vladimir not seeing his own reflection, even though that's not true, but you know, Dracula or stuff. And lastly, there is a piece of Noxian armor, and I swear to God, I've seen this somewhere. I mean, on one side it could be because this design is just all around Legends of Runeterra, but I do believe there was also an icon for an item in League that looked like this. And it might be in Wild Rift, where their items are slightly different. But I feel like I've seen this somewhere, and it's not the Gargoyle breastplate. It's something else. And, oh, is it Thornmail? Thornmail looks Noxian, but this doesn't have thorns. Even though... Thorns? Black Rose? Why didn't they make that real? Anyway, the last thing we can see here is a mask, and now I wonder, was this mask the target of Katarina? Because if yes, then I have no idea what skin that would be, and that, I believe, is all the references that we have in the game currently. Although there is one more thing that I can show you. If we go forward in time and we have a look at some of the animations and the minions and stuff like that, you will notice that indeed The new minions on the red side actually have black cloaks, kind of referencing the Black Rose. You'll see some new icons, which, I'll be honest, these don't really look like much. These eyes look way more Freljordian, but they are new, but... Oh, wait! It's an eye! So this is Swain's vision, likely, because we are on the side of Triforix. The red side is the Triforix side, so this is Swain. Ha! The cannon minions are mostly the same, except they do, once again, have a black cloak. Super minions are exactly the same, I am pretty sure. And most of the blue side is the same, except now the minions have the purple runes, which are not the green runes that we've seen from the Black Rose before, but you know, they are runed. They have a new icon of an X on them, and that's pretty much it. Nothing else besides just new purpley glowing eyes. Everything else should be the same. And that is pretty much it for all the Easter eggs. The last thing I want to check out is if the explosion of the Nexus is anything cool, anything special. If not, that's gonna be it. Which, yes, you know what? The animation, regardless of what's gonna happen here, and I'm ready for my mind to be blown. There is one thing that should be pointed out, and that is the fact that, yep, the animation is pretty much what we expected, and there is no, like, Mordekaiser's armor going up, or anything like that. And you know what? It doesn't even matter. And you know why it doesn't matter? People are gonna use the Jinx finisher anyway, so we wouldn't even be able to see that.